I'm Mark Erickson on behalf of Innovalug. I think there's about 12 or 14 of us here this year at Brickworld Chicago, and we brought the Isles of Aura collaboration this year, and that's it's a kind of a fantasy steampunk floating islands. Not so much engines and gears, but more like pirates and sails and that sort of thing. Okay. Yep. So on this side of the section, we have mostly the Snyder's work. So that's Isaac and John Snyder. This big winter village was built by both of them, I believe. And it features a lot of beautiful roofing techniques and snow. They are really the experts at snow details and that sort of thing. So they took their skills to their best advantage here with this one. So
something I noticed here on this is kind of how the docks come out for like the airships to pull up to. I like that.
Exactly. Airships and dragons need a spot to stop when they're flying towards the various land masses that are floating around. So yep.
And then it looks like pretty much all of these islands, as I look around the collab here, are kind of raised up off the table. So what's the general structure like for most of these? How do builders typically achieve that?
So these are similar to a build that would just be set on a table, but it's just slightly stronger, and perhaps the edges are more rounded than we normally would be. And then we use black bricks for the base because we were anticipating black tablecloth. So the idea is that the underneath is just kind of the cloudy ether, as it were, or the so that in order to have it appear like each island is kind of floating and give it a little bit of space underneath, to hopefully just enough to sell you the idea that it's kind of a floating fantasy islands, because otherwise if it was all on the ground, it would just look like more random mocks with a irregular edge, you know. So
yeah, I think it works well. So we'll keep moving down the line here then.
All right, so we also have some of brother Steven Erickson. That's actually my brother, and he's also my brother Steven. Anyway, it's
confusing.
Yeah. That was kind of a joke, and it ended up being like kind of confusing. But yeah, anyway, so he has this windmill here. He has a nice power functions turning the sails, and on the inside you can actually see there's a millstone that moves around. So in theory, it could actually function as an actual grain mill. So that was kind of neat, and he also had fun with the wheat outside. Although it's hard to find enough of those tan pieces, they're hard to find. And then we have the big treehouse with the big yellow leaves over here. Each room actually comes off. I can't quite reach it from here, but it has detailed insides. He was trying to mimic the Snyders, who with almost every build they do have a beautiful interior inside. Okay. So I never have gone to that level of detail, but it's very commendable by them to do that. So
yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, to make a build that looks good on the outside as well as detailed interiors. That's not easy to achieve.
Exactly. It's almost for personal satisfaction to know that the guys can go in there and have a little, they sit on their bed and right on their desk. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love the contrast with like the blue and brown there with the yellow leaves. That's really neat.
Yeah, the colors looked really good on that one, and those are actually alt brick leaves. So okay. They aren't made by Lego, but they're made by a off-brand company. So, but they still work very well. And if you want that really unique color, it's very nice. So, And then over here we have the Mushroom Island. That was actually, I was supposed to build the landscape for that one, but because I'm doing online school during the summer, I was not able to finish the landscape. So my brother Steven used some of David's parts, our ambassador. And he was able to make a small island. He built the mushroom. I was supposed to build a landscape, so I fell through, but David came up for me, so it ended up turning out well. So that one's cool.
It pays to have, helpful lug mates that can do that.
Exactly. Some of us had more space than others, and were able to bring extra parts to build stuff here at the show. So that worked out very well. And then over here we have another island here that's built by John. Nice tree. Another small boat. So we want to have plenty of large islands, small islands, lots of big boats, small boats. Have a great variety of things to look at flying around the black carpeted world of Isles of Aura. So yeah. Yep, and then we have these very nice towers by David Raychok, and he's our ambassador. He's actually right over there. You can see him. And so he made a bunch of these towers. They're kind of on various sides of the world here. But yeah, he actually made the landscapes the preceding days to the convention. So starting Monday, I believe, he was working on them here. Wow. And building those. The towers were built, but he built all the landscapes from scratch. While we were all having fun and playing Nerf battles, he was busy building it. So it's very, we were very proud of him for being responsible and getting those done.
That's a dedication to the craft here.
Exactly. He was like, I'm going to get these islands done, guys. Don't bother me. So he got them done, and they look great. So
yeah. I love that there. And something I'm noticing here, and I'm sure we'll see more of this throughout the collab, is the unique minifigs as well. So really nice kind of mashups with different parts and everything. I like the guy standing there is like the armor on and everything, and then some of these guys on the ships. So these are really neat just to kind of pick out and notice as you go through the collab.
Yeah, we were definitely going for a fantasy flair, a very unique flair, kind of pirates, but castle, but steampunk. It's a very, very vibrant mix of figures. And then over here we have the beautiful, I think it's actually a monastery. Yes, it's made by Isaac Snyder. Again, such a talented guy. The roofs are what really caught my attention. They're just those pieces are not easy to find in that dark orange color, and they look great. They look like the terracotta roof you can see in kind of a Mediterranean flair. But also, when you look closer, those are actually quarter tiles used in the pavement, and those are not easy to find, so you're kind of like, man, where did they get all those pieces? It's beautiful. But yeah, the little gardens on the inside and the monks going about their business, it's just amazing. So yeah, that was a great build by them.
And even a slight difference in the terrain with kind of the darker green on this one, switches it up, a little more variety there.
Exactly. Most of it's kind of a normal green, but we also have a couple islands with dark green and various other colors like sand green. We're trying to mix it up a little bit nice landscape touches. So, yep. And then over here, this lighthouse is built by Noel. That was actually built the week before the convention, and apparently it took him like 4 hours to make it, like part of a day to do it. So he was just trying to contribute as much as he could because he was spending some of his time on a smaller build on the other side of the table. But yeah. And then another boat, and then there's a bunch of dragons. Most of the dragons are built by my brother Steven, but there's a few that we actually brought along that we were given by Aaron Newman, who I think you have known before. But yeah, so we have some lovely dragons flying around, attacking various boats, and generally causing mayhem as they do. So, but yep.
Yeah, and then another tower there. Is that again by David? There.
Yep.
Okay, I like kind of the distinct style he's stuck with, is you can recognize the different towers throughout the layout.
Exactly. If you actually all the builds kind of carry the distinct flair of the individual builder, but we've tried to tie it together just enough so that it looks like a cohesive world. Yep. And this here is my only contribution that I've successfully completed. It was the larger ship that we wanted to have in there. We wanted a couple bigger vessels, and I knew I had the pieces and the brown pieces and the gold pieces. I've actually been hoarding gold pieces for about a year in anticipation of this project. So. But yeah, the sails turned out nice. That's just computer paper, double-sided printing, a little design I whipped up in Photoshop. And the Andrews vessel, which is on the other side of the table there, he designed it to look like my ship so that we'd have a fleet that kind of matched each other. So they're part of the same fleet attacking the big city, because the red guys and the blue guys don't get along as most, different fractions go. So, but yeah.
I love that. And you're nominated for Best Airship, so congratulations there. That's always cool to see the different awards that are given out at the shows.
Yes, it's very exciting. We also got Best Group Layout as well, so hopefully that'll do well. We're looking forward to the votes coming in, so yep.
Very neat. So we'll move around then. I think this seems to be kind of the centerpiece here, this big castle-looking structure.
Exactly. That was Steven's doing. He had actually, he was one of the few people to have a significant amount of free time before the convention. He had about a month off of school. Yeah. And so he built that big, large city with the round walls. He used a lot of pieces from the Disney castle, and a lot of pieces from castles that we built before. So it ended up being a great mix of castle and also some more recent time, so like a more Renaissance flair to it a little bit as well. So, but yeah, it's very detailed on the inside. Took him I'm thinking around 3 weeks, just solid building, like every day. So yeah.
Yeah, there's so much to see in there as you look around at the different building designs, and then even like the sidewalks and everything, and you see all the different minifigs walking around and the guards on the walls. I love that.
Exactly, yeah. So he did a very good job with that. We're very happy that he had the time to make a large centerpiece with the pieces that we had. So. Yep, and then over here we have a few more of David's towers, as well as his brother Andrew built that very large fort, and that's actually based off of a castle in Portugal. The name escapes me right now, but it's designed to look kind of mimic that style because it's so iconic and it looks great. So it's also kind of the time period that we're kind of incorporating into the theme. So that's why he wanted to focus on that castle design, and obviously it looks great. So yeah, and then so you got 2 more islands with David's towers, and there's 1 more over towards the end when we'll get over there. And then, as I mentioned before, this boat with the sails, so that made to match the red guy's fleet.
Yeah, so. No, it works really well. You can definitely, they look very close together, so it works well.
Exactly. We're trying to go for the red guys versus blue guys just a little bit. Not as much as in previous events we've been to, but this is a little touch of that. So. And then over here we also have John Snyder's, I believe this is John's, farm here. He has his very valuable Lego goats on display. They go for about, I don't know, $25 now.
Wow, expensive Lego animals there.
Exactly. The cows are $8, the goats are $25, go figure. But yeah, so he did a great job with that. We really liked the landscaping and the flowers on the edges. Just such a great detail there. But yeah, he really did good, and he actually got nominated as best youth for this thing. I'm not sure the exact term for that, but yeah. So he's gonna be, people are gonna be voting on John's stuff this convention. So we're very proud of him.
Yeah. That's excellent. And yeah, you get another look at some of the towers and the forts here. I love those so much. That's great. You got even like a little drawbridge and all sorts of details in there.
Exactly. It's a very secure fortress. Has a lot of cannons. They're ready for the red guys to come, and they're going to blow them right out of the skies. So, yep. Another dragon built by Steven here. A nice little. It's called an amphitheater apparently, and that means it doesn't have any arms or legs. It just has wings. It would fly on the winds permanently. So it's a pretty interesting concept. So, then an entirely landscape island built by David. So he wanted to we have a lot of towers and houses and stuff built in, but every now and then there's an uninhabited island, right? So he wanted to include that as well and kind of showcase some of his landscape abilities there. So it looks really good. Yeah. Another tower of his behind there as well with a little dragon landing pad as well. So, yep.
One of the classics there is a throwback.
Exactly. They're much smaller than the ones we built, so they fit well in certain situations, that being one of them. Okay. Yep. And then over here we have a nice island built by Lee Muzzy. And that was, he has his main character harvesting ice on the top of the mountains because obviously ice is a valuable import in a place where it's all floating around and the weather's very unusual. Yeah. So, yep.
There's a really cool angle where you can see through the trees, the sail, and the mountaintop. You might want to catch that. But I really just liked how this all ended up. It's the first time I built in over a year. So I'm really excited to be a part of this collaboration.
Yeah. No, great. It's excellent. So see if John can get the shot through. You get the yellow sail and the mountain there. Yeah, you get the trees and everything. That's the money shot of this section of the layout right there.
There you go. And that was Lee, the guy who built that nice island with the icy mountain on top. So, yep.
Perfect. Well, excellent work.
And then over here we have a build by Paul. He's one of our newer members, but he's extremely talented for his age. I believe he's 15 or 16. But yeah, so we got a lot of very young but very talented members. And so he built that wonderful house, and I believe it's a mill as well. But yeah, and then right directly behind that we have another great island with an excellent bridge. I love the bridge on that at those two islands connecting the two. That is built by, I believe, Isaiah Durand. He's one of our members. Well, he actually came all the way from Chile to be here. Oh, wow. So quite a long trip as well. So and then behind that we have another one of David's towers. I believe that is the final tower from David, but it kind of ties the whole scene together because they match and they have the similar color scheme. So it was another one of his excellent towers there.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned, but I think all of them have kind of the blue accents with kind of the lines around different parts of the towers, and that definitely ties them all together well.
Exactly. It just kind of happened that the blue team happened to have most of the towers and forts, and then the red team happened to have a lot of the boats. So maybe the red guys are invading the blue guys. I don't know. You could come to your own conclusions on that. And then behind that, we have a bunch of smaller vessels. I'm not sure the particular author of those, but it's a group effort. So, kudos to everyone who built those. And then behind that, we have a nice little, looks like a church or a monastery built by John Kay, or I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Klefik. And so he built that just actually here at the convention. I think it was just yesterday. So he did an excellent job on that for such a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So. He did the Indiana Jones series, if you're curious.
Okay, yeah, so John Klefik, there it is, yeah.
I'm sure, I always butcher his name, I can never get it, but yeah. And so another build by John Snyder, that's probably why he got nominated for the youth category this year, but yeah, an excellent build, showcasing some amazing structural angles with the rockwork, and a really cool crashed ship in this island, so it's kind of a pirate hideout. And it's really cool. So. Yeah,
this one I think stands out in particular with all of the different structures we see here, just because of the way he did the rock work and the angles there and everything, and then also had that amazing ship crashed in there and just works so well with the rest of the landscape and the buildings he's got there. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really just a technical marvel, but it's also pretty fragile, so we're very careful when we walk around it because it's got a lot of weight and it's on a small base, so it tends to topple over. So we're very careful with that one, but it's very beautiful to behold.
Yeah.
And then right in front of that, we have a very cool dragon's nest that was built by John's older brother, Isaac. We've mentioned him many times throughout this tour, but it has a really cool, I call it a donut, but it's a rock sculpture with a little dragon's nest underneath and the little baby dragons and eggs on there. Very cool detail. And then you got a larger dragon that he built right outside of it there. So,
Those egg pieces are perfect for that. Do you know what those pieces are from?
We actually got them in an Easter set that came out a while ago. It was a city or a promotional. I'm not sure exactly one, but we did a set draft, and he got several of the eggs. So yeah, he ended up using those very well there.
Yeah.
Yep, and then directly behind that we have a kind of a different flair, but it's also definitely part of Owls of War. It's kind of a Japanese, Chinese flair to it, and it has a very nice, beautiful roof. And so that was built by Andrew. That would be David's brother. And so he is a particular fan of that style of architecture, and he wanted to incorporate that there as well. So we have a little bit of a different flair compared to the mostly European flair from the rest of it. So, but you know, these different themes could be easily incorporated to Owls of War. It's very flexible and very diverse. So.
And the red and gold still fits with the ships that you guys worked on as well.
Absolutely, I think they would probably be allies with the red and gold guys over there. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's all for this Owls of War display. So.
Wow, so this has been amazing. So talk a little bit about kind of how a Nova Lug works and kind of how that came together and what the collaboration process was like for this.
Yes, so Nova Lug is a completely online lug. We're all over the United States and international as well. So we often try to have collaborations that are easy to do online and are often, just like everybody can have a different take on it. We have so many different styles and building styles. Some people are better at landscapes, some people are better at animals. So we've been doing stuff for several years now, but only occasionally do we meet in person. The last time being, I believe, Brickworld, Virginia in 2016. And so this year, the Snyders were like, we're definitely going, and if you guys can make it, great. And then we're like, yeah, let's all go. And so we definitely plan on coming here. It worked out very well, and the theme we wanted to do was Owls of War, which I believe was kind of pioneered by my brother Steven, but very much inspired by Tyler Kleitz and Nanan Zhang from many years ago. They made a beautiful floating island city, and so we kind of wanted to emulate that and kind of build upon that because there's so much you can do within that theme. And so that ended up being the core behind it. I obviously would have liked to have seen a big castle scene, but everyone's seen castle.
Not everyone can build castle all the time, Mark.
Exactly. So it's like, and everyone's seen castle stuff before, but this is a little bit unique, so we wanted to bring it out and showcase some of the, great variety and diversity here. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it certainly turned out great. So do you know the number of builders that were involved?
I believe all of us were involved at some point. So it was, I keep losing count. It's either 12 or 14. But there's quite a few builders here, and they all tried to contribute at least a little bit. And even those of us who weren't able to contribute due to time constraints, they ended up building some pieces on when David was building his islands or when we were fixing stuff. So everyone got a piece into it. So.
And another thing I want to talk to you about, because we talked about this a few days ago at the show, was the way that the lug is all coming together here, and your lodgings during the show is a really cool idea. So talk about how you guys are doing that, because I think that's a neat way for lugs to get together.
Yes, it actually worked out really well, as I was saying. But the concept was we were thinking we could just rent a bunch of hotel rooms and work that out, but it would be, not everyone likes to stay in a hotel for a week and all that. So we looked around at Airbnb houses, and we managed to find a very nice 3-story house with lots, has a pool table in the basement, has a theater room, has a huge kitchen. And because we were able to organize it as a group, it ended up being a slightly less money per person per night than a hotel. So it ended up working out great. It's a huge space, and we love it. And we've had, as I said, Nerf battles there, enjoying our time there as well. So it worked out very well. I would definitely recommend, if you're within a group or a group of people that you would want to do this with, it's worth trying. Just if you can get the organization behind it, it works out very well. The group rate really does work. So
yeah, that's so awesome, because obviously a big part of these Lego shows, obviously everyone wants to show off their builds, but it's really about the community at the end of the day, and getting to hang out with these builders. Like you said, it's all online for your lug, so you don't get to spend a lot of time in person with these guys. So it's awesome when you can spend all that time together at the show and then also at the house.
Exactly. Just the ability to spend time together all as a group and not have to be like, let's meet up down in the convention center because we're all in different hotel rooms, wherever. It worked out great. So I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to take us all around the collab here. It's very impressive, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys.